morning. I'm Mary Marinville, and I'm here at Deardorff Family Farms with Scott Deardorff. How are you today, Scott?
Nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well. Thank you for showing Art and I around in KDTV.
Okay.
And can you explain to me why we have to wear these hard hats and vests?
Well, we're in the production area, so we bring in tomatoes from the field, and this is where we clean them, wash them, sort them, and pack them for shipment. So for food safety reasons and for the safety of our employees, we require them to wear a visible vest and hairnets and gloves and aprons to keep our food safe for the consumer.
Great, and we're glad you do that. Safety right now is a very big issue, and it always has been with food, so thank you for explaining that. And right now we are standing in your new facility in Oxnard. How many square feet is this?
The entire facility is about 115,000 square feet. We've got 40,000 square feet of cold storage space, 60,000 square feet of food packing and processing, and about 15,000 square feet of office space.
Okay, and that's from where you moved from at your Mountain View facility. Can you explain how long your family was in that facility?
Yeah, we've been in there since the mid-'60s. So my grandfather and my father and my uncle purchased the facility and developed it into a cold storage space and an office space. And we were under kind of 3 different locations. So my cousin and I had the vision to put everything under one roof. So that was our goal about 2 years ago, and we found the perfect piece of land, if you will, in the city, in an already developed industrial park. So we didn't have to take any farm ground out of production, and we built a new facility here.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Thanks.
I think that means that you're growing and Deardorff Family Farms is doing well, so that's wonderful. I remember going to your old facility, and when I pulled up here, I'm like, wow, they're doing well, so that's great. Now, you talked about your grandfather. How long has the Deardorff family been involved in agriculture?
Well, the company started in 1937. My great-grandfather moved out from Oklahoma and started the business with my grandfather. So that was in the LA area. Then we moved to Ventura County, like I said, in the mid-'60s, and that's when we started doing our own farming. And then shortly after that, we started doing our own cooling and shipping. And so the 4th generation, myself and my cousin Tom, have sort of built this new facility as sort of the 4th biggest move or investment that the company's done.
Okay, you said earlier that every Deardorff generation has been responsible for a different level of the business. Can you explain? So the 1st generation was responsible for coming from Oklahoma to California, and can you explain the rest?
And then kind of starting the business with relationships directly with growers. And then the 2nd generation, my grandfather, and in conjunction with my dad and my uncle, started actually farming. Before that, we didn't farm. We didn't own any farm ground. We didn't do any actual farming ourselves. So that generation started the farming, and then they started doing the cooling and shipping also. So they invested in different cooling facilities, both here in Ventura County and in parts of LA County too. So the 4th generation, my cousin and I, this is sort of our big investment in the company to put our roots down in a new facility here in the middle of Oxnard.
With the intention of growing the business, because I am standing in a massive storage warehouse, so your plans must be to continue to grow.
Yeah, I think one of our growth strategies, if you will, is to do more consumer packaging. So with that, we bought a new machine from Europe to package tomatoes that's in a direct consumer package that the consumer would recognize on the store shelf.
Okay, great. Well, I recognize your logo and name immediately. And can you explain how many different vegetables that you do grow? You are we're here today because you do grow tomatoes, and I want to learn more about what varieties of tomatoes you grow, but what other things do you grow besides tomatoes? Well,
we're a seasonal grower, so in the wintertime we grow everything from shards and kales and parsleys and celery. Celery is our biggest crop in the wintertime. We grow over 1,000 acres of celery. And we also have strawberries and different sort of leafy green vegetables like cabbage, red leaf, green leaf, romaine. And then in the springtime and the summertime, we transition into tomatoes. We grow about 600 acres of tomatoes. We also grow different kinds of squashes, hot peppers, sweet peppers, more of a summer variety of fruits and vegetables.
Wow, all very, very healthy. So on the tomato side, what varieties do you grow?
We grow a couple of different varieties. We grow aroma tomato, which is sort of a plum-shaped salad kind of tomato that's great for sauces. It's real high meat tomato. And then we also grow a round tomato, and on that tomato we grow a couple different varieties. One is a variety that has sort of a longer shelf life, so it can stay on the shelf and survive trucking to further distances. And another tomato we grow is a new one called a Tasty Lee, and that's grown mostly for local consumption. It's a high flavor, high lycopene tomato that we just introduced this year.
Okay, and lycopene, if you didn't know this, is a cancer-fighting nutrient. And so I'm happy to hear that you are growing tomatoes that have high lycopene levels, which is great. And we're standing in front of some organic boxes, and I know that you're not 100% organic, but some time ago I met your brother Tom, and he explained to me that every year you're transitioning to do a little bit more organics. Can you explain?
Yeah, we started off at about 10-15%. Now we're pushing 30% organics. We grow everything we grow. We also grow organically, and we also have a growing partner in the Salinas area growing some organic veggies for us in the winter, or excuse me, the summertime.
Okay.
So these are our organic tomato boxes. So we have round tomatoes that we grow organically, the Roma tomatoes we grow organically, and in the wintertime we'll grow all of our veggies both conventionally and organically.
Okay. Are you seeing the demand for organic grown vegetables increase?
Yes, I think the economy, when it slowed down a little bit, that kind of flatlined the organics, but now that we're recovering a little bit, there's more demand for organics every day.
Okay, wonderful. And do you ship internationally?
Yes, we do. We actually, if you call Canada international in the wintertime, they don't have very good growing season, so we ship a lot of product. A lot of our veggies go to Canada in the wintertime. In the summer, we have a contract with in Japan with a company that makes sandwiches, so we grow and ship a lot of tomatoes to Japan in the summer.
To Japan as well, wonderful. So Ventura County farmers, every time I'm learning more and more as I go, but it's really wonderful to learn that Ventura County farmers are feeding people around the world. There's 7 billion people on the planet, so our farmers and what we're doing here in Ventura County, it's so valuable. It really is valuable. Can you explain a little bit about the process from field to table, for instance, with your tomatoes?
Sure. The tomatoes grow in the ground for about 100 days to 120 days, depending on when they're planted. And
the weather?
And the weather. It's been a warm summer, so we've had the growing season's been a little bit shorter. So the tomatoes we grow them on stakes outdoors. On stakes, they're called pole-grown tomatoes.
The old-fashioned way?
The old-fashioned way. That gets them up off the ground and gets them we can pick them multiple times. So a field crew will go in there and harvest the tomatoes and put them in big bins, and we bring them in here to pack them. And then we're brought in here, we clean them, we spray them with water, and then we sort them by size and by the ripeness, if you will. And we cull out all the blemishes, and so we can put the #1 tomatoes in our #1 quality label.
Okay, so you do have a #1 quality label?
Yeah.
Wonderful, that's great. Now, your family has been in the business for generations, and we all have our story of why we do what we do. I have my story of why I do agricultural education, and I know that it was something that we were born into, but is there one particular event that's happened in your life that you said, this is for me? Maybe when you were a young boy or...
Yeah, I mean, I always came to the fields with my dad during the summer, winters, and I worked here in the summers when I was out of school. And one thing I really liked about the company business of the company was that there's so many different things you can do. I realized early on that I didn't just have to work in the field. I could do sales, I could do marketing, I could work in technology. There's lots of different technologies we do here. So I kind of gravitated more towards the business side of it and learned how to do accounting and technology, and and it's great to blend that in with agriculture, which is such a down-to-earth profession that it was great to be able to blend my sort of gear tech side to that side.
So the science side to
Yeah.
the arithmetic side.
Right.
And so that's why, are you the marketing director here, or
No.
the sales director, or are you the vice president? What's your title?
Well, I think I wear a different hat every day. So everything.
But I've got the orange one.
Everything from computers to marketing. I mean, my cousin and I just kind of work on everything together, and we kind of divide and conquer, so to speak.
So you are a true farmer in every sense of the word, because farmers always have to wear different hats. And I just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time today, and thank you, KDTV. And now we're going to taste test some amazing Deardorff family farms tomatoes. Thank you. Scott, what's really important for the audience is to learn about the process from field to their table. And you explained that the growing process takes about 100, 120 days. But once it gets to your warehouse, can you explain the first phase of the tomato packing process?
Yeah, well, the tomatoes come in bins, and then we put those bins on the packing line where the tomatoes come down the line. And the first part of that line is called the sorting table. And so after they go through a wash bar where they get sprayed down with water, we have about 50 or 60 people that sort the tomatoes based on their quality. So they'll pick out the number ones and the number twos and the number threes. The number twos will go in the kind of the middle of the pack line, and the number threes will go down the bad egg chute, I call it, where they go out to a dumpster and go feed the cattle. So this first part of the line is where we call out the number ones, number twos, and number threes for quality.
Okay, so do number ones go to the grocery store?
Yes, the number ones get packed in our number one quality label, and the number twos get packed in a different label, which will end up maybe to a food processor, somewhere where they can make sauces and things like that, because they're still a perfectly good tomato. They just have a few cosmetic blemishes.
Okay, and how many pounds of tomatoes are we talking about a day?
Oh, and that's a good question. We pack about 5,000 or 8,000 boxes of tomatoes a day, and those are 25-pound boxes, so I'd have to do the math on that.
Okay.
But it's a lot.
And how many a year? Do you know that?
A year we'll do well over 1 million packages.
Okay, and that is from your 600 acres of tomatoes?
Yeah, it's about 600 acres altogether.
Okay. Now, phase 2 of the tomato process, they go into cold storage?
Yes, after they're packed and in the different packages, then they'll go into cold storage so they can be shipped out.
And how long are they in cold storage? Probably not for very long.
Probably between 12 hours and 24 hours, maybe 48 hours at the most.
That's great. So you turn them out turnkey to your distributors and to the grocery stores?
Yes, as quickly as we can. That's the name of the game. Try to get them out of the field, packed, and in the truck as soon as we can.
Right. I know that's a very important process when you're talking about getting customers the freshest available tomatoes and vegetables you can. So how long does it take for them, for instance, once they're in the truck and being transported, for instance, Canada, how long does that take?
Like I said, it depends on where they're going. So if they're just going to LA, the LA market, they'll be there in 3 or 4 hours. But we ship them to Japan, which can be another 3 or 4 days by the time it goes through logistics at the airport, on a plane. It gets to the distribution facility in Japan. By the time they end up at the consumer, it can be a week or so.
Okay, so you ship tomatoes on planes.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Do you ship any by containers on ships?
No, we did try that a couple years ago, but that was a long, that took over 2 weeks to get there, so it didn't work out as well as we expected.
Okay.
And the costs it was about the same cost at the end of the day, too.
Okay. And then you do sell locally, you do sell your tomatoes locally, and who is a customer that, if our audience would like to buy some Deardorff family tomatoes, where would they go to do that?
A lot of them go to, a lot of our organics and our tasty leaves will end up at Whole Foods. So
Whole Foods, okay, great.
And we eventually get one in here in Ventura County.
Hopefully. We keep seeing the sign.
And sometimes you occasionally see them at some of the bigger chain grocery stores. We don't always know when they're going to end up in the local stores because they go through their distribution center. but I've seen them at Vaughn's and Albertsons on occasion.
And if people want to know more about Deardorff Family Farms, they can go to your website, which is?
DeardorffFamilyFarms.com.
Okay, thank you, Scott, for taking us through that process. That was very interesting. Thank you.